So my birthday is a Friday, right? I'm turning 26, and I didn't plan to make a video or anything, because to be honest, I wasn't in the mood to celebrate. But I was on a plane this morning. This is Tuesday. I'm recording it, and I was sort of reminiscing on just the couple of things that's happened for me around me in the last couple of weeks, and I just started writing and writing. I'm like, oh, I should probably make a video about this and just share some of the lessons I have learned this year at 25, and hope that it does two things. One, I'm recording as a reminder for myself so that I can take these things into this new year and hold on to it and remember and be accountable to myself. But I'm also hoping that you learn something from it and get inspired. So this is lessons I learned at 25 that I want to be reminded about in the 26th year. Let's do this. The very first one is a reminder, not something new. I made a video one time, a couple months ago, maybe last year. It was inspired by an article or a newsletter that Arit Opo wrote, and the title was A Little Bit of Both, where she said that it's possible for something to be incredibly beautiful and incredibly difficult at the same time. And I was like, I totally understand. So I made that video, but then this morning, it hit me all over again. The last couple of weeks has been incredibly hard. I lost one of my dads, so it was incredibly painful. But at the same time, I left home this morning and just realized that there was also a lot of warmth just having family around. And I'm like, these two feelings of warmth and of loss are sitting together. And if I think back to the rest of the year, I have had moments like that, moments of moving and feeling like, oh my God, this is me here, but also feeling like, oh my God, this is me here alone, So that's a reminder that two feelings can actually coexist, and none of them is wrong. They can both be right, they can both be true, they can both be valid, and it's okay to feel those feelings for yourself and, do what you want to do. Sit with those things, sit with those feelings, and then move on if you wanted to, or learn from those things. And then the second lesson that I was thinking about this morning is how important it is to investigate our choices. I was reminded about this by someone recently, and just saying that when you grow up, right, you start making choices and decisions, and sometimes you're doing those things unconsciously based on your past experiences and past lessons and your trauma and how you were brought up. But if you check and investigate those choices and those things that you say, you're not saying them because you still really believe in them or because they're still very true for you. You're still just holding on to them because that's what you knew as a child, right? And so it's very important that as you begin to sort of mature and become more self-aware, that you ask yourself, why am I making this choice? Why am I saying this? Why am I doing this thing? Is it just a force of habit? Am I still the same person? Have I changed? Is this still very true for me, or is it something that I want to change for myself, right? Because again, this is the third lesson. It's very, 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 very okay to change your mind about stuff, right? As you evolve and you get more informed, it's totally okay to be like, yeah, I thought that this was me, and I thought that this is what I think about this, or these are the opinions that I have. But I've changed my mind because I have new information, right? I've gotten new experiences, I've met more people, I'm more exposed, and so because of that, I now have a different opinion about that. So it's 2 in 1, right? Investigate your choices and why you're doing those things. Investigating doesn't mean that you're trying to say, oh yes, it's wrong, I should not still be doing these things. It's just get to the point where you are very aware of the things that you're doing, and you're very certain of the reasons why you're doing them, and you are in control as much as possible. And number 4 is that sometimes it's very, very easy to ignore or to not recognize your growth. I've just been in space recently where I'm trying to I want to do all this. There's so much for me to do. And then I was having conversations with people over the weekend, and it just hit me that the person who's having this conversation now is so different from the person who would have had this conversation 2 years ago. The way I would ask someone a question back, the confidence that I had, the knowledge that I was bringing to it was so different. And I'm like, oh my God, please, you have grown and it's not even like career, it's just like in my being, in my person, in my thinking, in my confidence. And I had to be in that space that reminded me of who I used to be, or being with those people to recognize for myself that I have actually grown. Because it's very easy, like on the day-to-day where you're just like, we're hustling, or we're trying to chase our dreams and trying to chase our goals. It's easy to just forget where we've come from and just like keep trying to move forward. But if you sit down for a minute and just think about who you were 3 months ago, or 6 months ago, or a year ago, 5 years ago, you'll be shocked, I'm pretty sure, about how much you have grown. And so here's what I'm taking for myself from that experience is I said I have to continuously remind myself to look back to where I've been, not to, oh, because of this thing happened, I use an excuse. No, it's not to have excuses. It's to be more centered and more grounded and be more grateful in the moment. To catch myself when I'm thinking, oh, there's still so much I have to do in my life. There's still so much money I have to make. There is still so much money I have to make. But I want to be accountable to myself in that sense where I catch myself and I say, peace. Think about where you were a month ago, where you were 3 months ago, where you were 1 year ago, and be grateful for that growth. And then before I start thinking about the other things that I want to go. Another lesson is, I was telling a friend yesterday that I think, and I'm beginning to operate from the knowledge that my self-awareness and authenticity is one of my greatest assets. And I want to make sure that I keep those two things. Just being able to know how I'm feeling, know what I'm thinking, being able to break down the things I'm going through into different layers, being able to seek clarity for myself, being able to know when I need help, being able to recognize when I'm not at peace, being able to be strong enough to actually ask for that help, knowing when I need support and being able to ask for those things, knowing my strength and also knowing how to leverage those strengths, and then always making sure that I'm myself and I'm not trying to be like anybody else. I think that's taken me so far, and as I thought about it recently, and I'm like, even in this new year, I want to make sure that these great assets, my authenticity and self-awareness, that for other people might seem very intangible. For me, it's a very tangible thing, and these are things that I can transfer into my work. It's things that I can transfer into my relationship. I can be authentic in the way I show love. I can be authentic in the way I show up at work. I can be aware about what I need to get better at work. I can be aware about my strengths and know how to leverage that to actually produce results in real time. Those two things, it's not just like real personal things, are things that I want to. And I'm hoping that even as you watch this, you take it and say, hey, I want to grow my level of self-awareness and just like be inside your head and just like investigate yourself and recognize the things that you want to do and recognize where you are, and then ask yourself, how can I improve, or what do I need to do about all of these things? And then also another lesson is that pressure is good to produce, because it's easy to get comfortable. But whenever I check the goals that I have and I'm like, you know what, let's do this, that pressure is really good for me to produce. But there has to be a balance, and it's something that I continuously remind myself of, that because pressure makes me produce, doesn't mean that I won't remember to enjoy stability and enjoy the current results and just be grateful for what I currently have, right? But it's also, the main point is to always remind myself to not get comfortable, because I really do produce under pressure. Like when I say, hey, I want to do this, that determination usually works. And then another one is, stability is really good, but taking risks are also really good. I have always just pursued stability, I just want to get to a place where I'm good at work, I know where my career is going to-ish, I have money saved up-ish. I just have a sense of, I kind of want to do in my life, but I think that being too safe might not always be the best thing. So I'm beginning to deliberately try and take risks, especially risk with money, because I like to see money in my bank account. But now I'm okay, I have to take some risk, right, if I want to really multiply those things. So that's something I have to remind myself, and that's something that you might learn something from. And mistakes are good, right? When you're trying to be safe, you're trying not to make a mistake. But if you don't make mistakes, sometimes you won't really learn, because it's when you make a mistake and when you face really big challenges, that you learn really good lessons that then sort of take you to the next level that you want to be. The next lesson is, and someone very important to me said that a lot of the times when we feel not good enough or feel confused or lacking clarity or just feeling like, we're not where we're supposed to be, she calls it the gap. It's simply the space between expectation and reality. And everybody is there at different times for different reasons, at different areas of your life. But what you want to do is try to set the goals that you want and then ask yourselves, how do I walk there? The only way to close the gap is to get a certain sense of clarity about those expectations. Like, okay, I'm feeling confused because I don't know this. I'm feeling unsuccessful because I haven't achieved this. And know what those things are, set those goals. But it never just ends in goal setting, right? It has to be, what then do I need to do right now in this stage where I am, in this place where I am, that would then take me to that expectation or that goals that I have. Like the steps, the things, the actions, the action point has to always be there if you actually want to close that gap. Another one is that God is within me and God is me. And me in the sense of the things that I face and the things that I need to figure out, I don't need to do them apart from Him. There's no need to apply the logic to myself and the books and the videos by myself, because we can literally put it together. And I want to be much more deliberate and remember this, that He's with me as much as He is me, and as everything that I need to do, I can't figure out with Him anything at all. And it's something else that I learned is that peace is the badass. That's it. That's where I ended. Peace is the badass, and this is just a reminder to myself and to everybody watching. Yeah, that's right. Peace is the badass. Anyway, guys, so I didn't count how many lessons. I have a feeling it's like 10 or 11, but this is some of the things. I literally wrote these things down during a flight this morning, and I just said, you know what? I think I want to remember and remind myself of these things this new year. This is my new year. But I also hope that watching this video inspires you, and that you can save it, and you can share it, and you can watch it. Most importantly, when it's Friday, say happy birthday to me and, pray for me. Peace out.